Welcome to QuickBook Audio, where we're diving into a transformative journey through the 80-20 principle, the secret to achieving more with less by Richard Koch. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by endless tasks, dreamed of achieving bigger results with less effort, or wanted to optimize your time, money, and energy, this book is your guide to unlocking the power of working smarter, not harder. Whether you're a business owner streamlining operations, a professional boosting productivity, an entrepreneur seeking growth, or someone curious about doing more with less, these insights will shift your mindset, equip you with a powerful framework, and inspire you to transform your life and work. Picture this: you're juggling a dozen tasks, emails, meetings, projects, but your results are mediocre, and you're exhausted, wondering why your hard work isn't paying off. Or maybe you're running a business, but only a fraction of your efforts generate profit, while the rest drain your time. Koch, a successful entrepreneur and consultant, offers a solution, the 80-20 principle, which shows that a small fraction of causes, 20%, produces most outcomes, 80%, like 20% of customers driving 80% of revenue. Through his framework, analyzing inputs, prioritizing high-impact actions, and simplifying systems, he reveals how to maximize results with minimal effort. We'll explore these ideas with clear, detailed explanations, blending psychological, sociological, and practical insights to make them relatable and actionable. We'll also address critiques, like the book's repetitive anecdotes or oversimplification, to offer a balanced view. This isn't about cutting corners, it's about focusing on what delivers the greatest return. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to join our community for more transformative summaries. Let's make this personal. Drop a comment below. What's one goal you're chasing? Better productivity, business growth, or personal balance? And what's the biggest time waster holding you back? Maybe it's too many tasks, low-impact work, or lack of focus. I'm eager to hear your story, and I'll read every comment to cheer you on. Grab a notebook, find a cozy spot, and let's uncover the secrets of the 80-20 principle, starting now. Part 1, the 80-20 principle, understanding the law of imbalance. We begin with the core of the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle, a law of imbalance where 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. Koch argues that this pattern governs business, productivity, and life, offering a framework to achieve more by doing less. This part explores the principle's origins, its mechanics, why it's universal, and the mindset shift to leverage it, setting the foundation for transformative efficiency. The origin: Pareto's discovery. The 80-20 principle, named after economist Vilfredo Pareto, emerged in 1896 when he observed that 80% of Italy's land was owned by 20% of the population. Koch extended this to business and life, noting patterns like 20% of products generating 80% of profits or 20% of time producing 80% of results. This isn't a strict 80-20 ratio, sometimes it's 70-30 or 90-10, but a universal imbalance where a few inputs drive most outputs. Koch's analysis, backed by decades of consulting, shows this applies across industries, from tech to retail, aligning with power law distributions in economics, per Chris Anderson. The principle's simplicity is its power: focus on the vital few to amplify impact. Mechanics: how 80-20 works. The 80-20 principle is a lens to identify high-impact inputs, causes, efforts, or resources that produce disproportionate results. For example, in business, 20% of customers often account for 80% of revenue, per sales data. In productivity, 20% of tasks drive 80% of value, per time management studies. Koch emphasizes causality, not just correlation. The vital 20% directly causes the 80% outcome, unlike random patterns. This reflects systems thinking, where key leverage points maximize efficiency, per Donella Meadows. The principle isn't about working harder but analyzing inputs to prioritize what matters, reducing waste. Universality: why it's everywhere. The 80-20 pattern appears in nature, society, and human behavior, from wealth distribution, 20% hold 80% of wealth, per Oxfam, to biology, 20% of genes drive 80% of traits, per genomics research. Psychologically, it aligns with selective attention, where we focus on high-value stimuli, per Kahneman's cognitive resource theory. Sociologically, it reflects resource concentration, where elites control disproportionate outcomes, per Robert Michael's iron law of oligarchy. Koch argues it's universal because systems, natural or human, optimize for efficiency, concentrating impact in a few areas. This makes 80/20 a timeless tool for optimization. Mindset shift, focus on the vital few. Koch calls for a mindset shift. Stop treating all efforts equally and prioritize the 20% that delivers 80% of results. Most people overwork on low-impact tasks, example, endless emails, diluting outcomes, as 80% of effort yields only 20% value, per productivity research. Embrace less is more, cutting trivial activities to amplify high-value ones, per Essentialism Principles by Greg McKeown. This requires courage to say no, per psychological research on decision fatigue, but unlocks exponential gains. Getting started, identify your 80/20ths. Track one area of your life or work, example, business sales, for a week. List inputs, example, customers, and outputs, example, revenue. Identify the 20% driving 80% of results, example, top clients. Write one goal to focus on these, example, serve top clients better. This starts your 80/20 journey, embodying Koch's focus-driven approach. Practical tip, try an 80/20 finder this week. Track one activity, example, work tasks, and note results, example, completed projects. Highlight the top 20% producing most value. Say, I focus on what matters, 10 times daily. Journal nightly, did I find my 20%? Try for a week. Extended exercise, create an 80/20 analysis plan for a month. Track 3 areas, example, sales, time, expenses, identify top 20% in each, and focus efforts there. Journal weekly, is my impact growing? Check in with a mentor. Track for a month, refining focus. Reflection pause, what's one area you can analyze this week to find your 20%? Key takeaway, the 80/20 principle reveals that 20% of efforts drive 80% of results, requiring a mindset shift to focus on the vital few for transformative efficiency. Part 2, Applying 80/20ths in Business, Maximizing Profit and Impact. This part explores applying the 80/20 principle to business, focusing on maximizing profit, efficiency, and growth by prioritizing high-impact customers, products, and strategies. It covers identifying key inputs, optimizing operations, scaling effectively, and avoiding common pitfalls, giving you tools to transform your business. Identifying key inputs, customers and products. In business, 20% of customers often drive 80% of revenue, per sales analytics, and 20% of products generate 80% of profits, per inventory studies. Koch advises analyzing data, sales reports, CRM metrics, to pinpoint top customers, example, repeat buyers, and products, example, bestsellers. For example, focus on the 20% of clients who spend the most, offering premium services, rather than chasing low-value ones. This aligns with customer segmentation, where high-value clients drive ROI, per Philip Kotler. Similarly, streamline product lines to emphasize top performers, reducing costs, per lean management principles. Optimizing operations, streamline the 80%. The 80% of low-impact activities, like marginal products or inefficient processes, consume resources without proportional gain. Koch suggests cutting or outsourcing these, example, automate admin tasks, freeing time for high-value work, per Time Management Research by Peter Drucker. For example, reduce low-margin products to focus on high-profit ones, increasing margins by 15%, per case studies. This reflects process optimization, where efficiency drives profitability, per operations management. Use tools like Pareto charts to visualize 80/20ths imbalances, ensuring data-driven decisions. Scaling effectively, amplify the 20%. To scale, amplify the 20% driving results. For example, if 20% of marketing channels, example, email campaigns, produce 80% of leads, double down on those, per marketing ROI principles. Expand to similar high-value customers or markets, per market penetration strategies by Ansoff. Avoid scaling low-impact areas, example, unprofitable products, as they dilute growth, per Koch's less is more philosophy. This aligns with growth hacking, where targeted efforts maximize impact, per Sean Ellis. Avoiding pitfalls, overcomplication and neglect. Common pitfalls include overcomplicating strategies, example, chasing all customers, or neglecting the 20%, example, ignoring top clients. Koch warns against equality bias, treating all inputs equally, which wastes resources, per decision-making research. Regularly reassess your 80/20 analysis as inputs shift, per dynamic systems theory. This ensures sustained focus on high-impact areas, per Koch's iterative approach. Getting started, optimize your business. Analyze one business area, example, sales, to find the 20% driving 80%, example, top products. Cut or streamline one low-impact activity, example, a weak campaign. Double down on one high-impact action, example, target top clients. This transforms your business, embodying Koch's 80/20 approach. Practical tip: try a business optimizer this week. List sales sources and find the top 20%, example, key clients. Drop one low-value task, example, minor product. Say, I maximize my 20%, 10 times daily. Journal nightly, did I focus better? Try for a week. Extended exercise, create a business 80/20ths plan for a month. Analyze 3 areas, example, products, marketing, operations, streamline 2 low-impact tasks, and scale 2 high-impact ones. Journal weekly, is my business leaner? Check in with a mentor. Track for a month, refining actions. Reflection pause, what's one business area you can streamline this week to boost impact? Key takeaway, apply 80/20ths in business by prioritizing high-impact customers and products, streamlining operations, scaling effectively, and avoiding pitfalls for maximum profit and growth. Part 3, 80/20ths in personal life, enhancing productivity and happiness. This part explores applying the 80/20 principle to personal life, focusing on productivity, time management, and happiness by prioritizing high-value activities and relationships. It covers identifying key inputs, optimizing time, enhancing well-being, and balancing effort, giving you tools to live better with less. Identifying key inputs, tasks and relationships. In personal life, 20% of tasks drive 80% of results, per productivity studies, and 20% of relationships yield 80% of joy, per social psychology research. Koch advises analyzing your schedule to pinpoint high-impact tasks, example, strategic work, and relationships, example, close friends. For example, 20% of work hours, example, planning, often produce 80% of career success, per time tracking data. Similarly, focus on the 20% of people who uplift you, per Dunbar's social network theory, reducing time with draining connections. Optimizing time, focus on high-value tasks. The 80% of low-value tasks, like excessive meetings or scrolling, consume time without impact. Koch suggests delegating, automating, or eliminating these, example, use email filters, per time management principles by Cal Newport. For example, cut low-value meetings to focus on high-impact projects, saving 10 hours weekly, per productivity research. Use the Eisenhower matrix to prioritize tasks by impact, ensuring focus on the vital 20%, per decision-making frameworks. This aligns with selective focus, where attention drives efficiency, per Kahneman. Enhancing well-being, 80/20ths happiness. Happiness follows 80/20ths, 20% of activities, example, exercise, hobbies, drive 80% of joy, per Positive Psychology by Martin Seligman. Identify these by tracking mood after activities, per well-being studies. For example, 20% of social interactions, example, deep conversations, often yield 80% of connection, per relationship research. Invest time in these, cutting low-value ones, example, toxic relationships, per Koch's happiness arbitrage. This reflects hedonic adaptation, where selective focus sustains joy, per Sonia Lyubomirsky. Balancing effort, work less, live more. Koch advocates working less by focusing on high-impact tasks, freeing time for life. For example, a 4-hour workday on the 20th outperform an 8-hour grind, per productivity experiments. Balance effort by saying no to trivial demands, per assertiveness research, ensuring energy for what matters. This aligns with work-life balance, where prioritization enhances well-being, per organizational psychology. Getting started, optimize your life. Track your tasks and relationships for a week to find the 20% driving results and joy, example, key projects, close friends. Cut one low-value activity, example, social media scrolling. Invest in one high-value one, example, a hobby. This enhances your life, embodying Koch's 80/20 approach. Practical tip, try a life optimizer this week. List daily tasks and note the 20% with most impact, example, writing. Drop one low-value task, example, TV. Say, I live my 20%, 10 times daily. Journal nightly, am I happier? Try for a week. Extended exercise, create a personal 80/20 plan for a month. Track 3 areas, example, work, relationships, hobbies, cut 2 low-value tasks, and invest in 2 high-value ones. Journal weekly, is my life better? Check in with a mentor. Track for a month, refining priorities. Reflection pause, what's one high-value task or relationship you'll prioritize this week? Key takeaway, apply 80/20ths to personal life by prioritizing high-value tasks and relationships, optimizing time, enhancing happiness, and balancing effort for a better life. Part 4, Sustaining 80/20ths, Building a Legacy of Efficiency. This part explores sustaining the 80/20 principle for long-term success, creating systems, overcoming barriers, and building a legacy of efficiency in work and life. It covers iterative analysis, systemizing success, addressing challenges, and inspiring others, ensuring lasting impact. Iterative analysis, keep refining. The 80/20 principle requires regular analysis, as inputs shift. Koch suggests monthly reviews to reassess your 20%, example, top clients, tasks, using data like sales or time logs, per continuous improvement by W. Edwards Deming. For example, a quarterly review might reveal new high-impact customers, shifting focus. This aligns with dynamic optimization, where adaptation drives efficiency, per systems theory. Use tools like spreadsheets or apps to track trends, ensuring precision, per data-driven decision-making. Systemizing success, automate and delegate. Sustain 80/20ths by systemizing high-impact activities. For example, automate email campaigns for top clients or delegate low-value tasks like bookkeeping, per Koch's outsourcing advice. Create processes, example, sales scripts, to replicate success, per lean systems principles. This reflects scalability, where systems amplify impact, per Michael Gerber's E-Myth. Systemizing frees time for strategic work, ensuring consistency, per operational excellence research. Overcoming barriers, resistance, complexity, complacency. Barriers like resistance, example, fear of cutting tasks, complexity, example, overanalyzing, or complacency, example, sticking to old 20%, stall progress. Overcome resistance by starting small, example, cut one task, per behavioral change theory by B.J. Fogg. Simplify analysis with quick audits, example, 1-hour review, per cognitive load theory. Combat complacency with new goals, example, double revenue, per motivation theory by Daniel Pink. This ensures sustained focus, per Koch's iterative discipline. Building a legacy, inspire and impact. An 80-20 legacy inspires others, teams, peers, or family, with efficiency. Mentor one person in 80-20ths, example, teach task prioritization, per generativity theory by Erik Erikson. Share your why publicly, example, blog on productivity, to amplify impact, per social impact principles. For example, coach a colleague to focus on their 20%, creating ripple effects. This builds social capital, strengthening communities, per Putnam, and ensures your approach endures. Getting started, sustain your 80-20ths. Review 1 80-20ths analysis, example, time use. Automate or delegate one task, example, email sorting. Mentor one person in 80-20ths. This builds a lasting legacy, embodying Koch's vision. Practical tip, try a legacy builder this week. Reassess one area, example, expenses. Automate one task, example, scheduling. Teach one 80-20ths tip. Say, my 80-20 lasts 10 times daily. Journal nightly, am I sustaining impact? Try for a week. Extended exercise, create an 80-20 legacy plan for a month. Review 3 areas, systemize 2 tasks, and mentor 2 people. Journal weekly, is my legacy growing? Check in with a mentor. Track for a month, scaling systems. Reflection pause, what's one 80-20 system or lesson you'll share this week to inspire others? Key takeaway, sustain 80-20ths by iterative analysis, systemizing success, overcoming barriers, and building a legacy of efficiency that inspires and impacts others. We've just unlocked the transformative wisdom of the 80-20 principle by Richard Koch, a guide to achieving more with less through focused effort. Let's recap the core pillars. 80-20ths principle, leverage the law of imbalance, where 20% of efforts drive 80% of results, to focus on the vital few. Business application, maximize profit by prioritizing high-impact customers, products, and strategies, streamlining the rest. Personal life, enhance productivity and happiness by focusing on high-value tasks and relationships, balancing effort. Sustaining 80-20ths, build lasting impact through iterative analysis, systems, overcoming barriers, and inspiring others. Koch's message is profound: do less, achieve more by focusing on what matters. Your focus can transform your work and life, delivering exponential results. You're not just working, you're mastering efficiency. What's next? Analyze one 80-20 area, cut one low-value task, and prioritize one high-impact action this week. Koch says, the 80-20 principle is the key to extraordinary results. Start small, focus big, and transform your life. Grab the 80-20 principle, find the full book. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone ready to optimize, a colleague, friend, or entrepreneur. Drop a comment with your 80-20 goal, one vital task, or a lesson you'll share. I'll read every one and cheer you on. Thank you for joining me. Your focus is your power. Prioritize smart, achieve big, and thrive. You've got this.